I think you will be able to choose not to contract with the construct anymore and move beyond it.
It turns out the key to losing weight and keeping it off is not in carbs or fat or even in probiotic-rich foods. No, the end game of having a healthy weight, as well as more energy and a long, healthy life, comes down to a specific switch you can flip in your body to flush out unnecessary calories. Dr. Stephen Gundry is calling this caloric bypass, and by activating this specific process in your body, he has seen thousands of people dramatically improve their health even at age 50 and beyond. This includes losing weight, getting tons more energy, and returning to the good health they had in their youth. Dr. Stephen Gundry has lost 70 pounds himself using his research and has kept the weight off for over 20 years and counting, and he feels younger and healthier today than he did in his 40s. His video has been watched by over 20 million people to date, and you can watch and learn more about it at thehealthyfat.com/inspired. It's linked at the bottom of this video, but he'll teach you exactly how he has kept off his weight for free at thehealthyfat.com/inspired, or you can click on the link in the video description down below.
I wanted to talk about karma today. And from a Western, more Christian stream of thought, karma is considered something that is weird or doesn't exist. But I think karma as a part of the reincarnation cycle has been taken out of the Christian teachings. However, we're looking at it from a different angle, right? We're looking at it from the angle that karma might be a part of this program that we're experiencing and not actually something that in this current form exists in prime reality. But here's what has been coming through clearly. There's, I think, one thing that we can agree on, no matter what your specific belief system is that we have free will. You know, your free will brought you here today, and you're choosing to watch this. You're choosing to maybe comment, or you're choosing to leave. But those are all choices that you can make because you have free will. So what or who gave us that free will? I think that was implied in our original creation. However, a lot of people, probably the majority of people, do not really accept that they have free will. They see it as a relative thing. Yes, they realize they have free will to change the channel, or they have free will to get up or sit down usually, or whatever what they want to eat, but they don't seem to really believe they have free will in the grand scheme of things. But free will, I believe, is the foundation to understanding and ultimately escaping or overcoming karma. Now, the law of karma, very, very simplistically put, says that everything has cause and effect, right? And every action has a reaction. And that this, in the grand scheme of things, is as true as it is in the smaller scheme of things, which means that whatever we do unto another, we eventually have to experience ourselves. If we don't experience it in this lifetime and that karma is not resolved, then we will in another lifetime. Now we are in this current stage of the conversation, we're talking about the very idea of what reincarnation is and whether it is part of the program here in this matrix, right? In this simulation, it's simply being questioned. One thing seems to be clear, that this, how we are perceiving and experiencing it, isn't the prime reality that was created. So the law or the wheel of karma keeps people in a perpetual cycle of reincarnation until they evolve far enough to eventually transcend that karma and move on to the next world. That sounds exhausting because that's what it is. And that's why a lot of people, sounds crazy, but they feel tired, although they have no actual reason to be tired. But sometimes it's the feeling tired of so many lifetimes and having to do and learn, remember these things over and over again. Now, in my perception, everything is an agreement. So you cannot be subject to something as restrictive as karma without agreeing with your free will to be subject to it. Why? Because you have free will. That's where this contradiction comes in. You either have it or you don't have it. Free will cannot be relative, or it wouldn't be free. And so I do believe that if you choose to do what you know to be right in your spirit, and you choose to exit the wheel of karma, then you can do that. That then you don't have to jump through 13 hoops in order to then qualify to exit it. However, I do believe that if you use your free will to do things you know to be wrong in your spirit, you sort of automatically enter that cycle or stay in that cycle. So that's why we have said over the last 10, 15 years, that's how long we've been talking about freedom and sovereignty, which this whole freedom and sovereignty movement really originated within the idea that government has become so restrictive and the government has forgotten its proper position. And that is all true, but freedom and sovereignty are spiritual concepts. They're not political concepts. They're not statutory concepts. Freedom and sovereignty is our natural state. So, for those who have studied karma and have studied the Eastern philosophies, I believe all of these are manuals, instructions, and guidelines on how to live in this construct, whatever it may be. I do not believe that they automatically apply to the prime reality. And I had a realization yesterday. We were doing Christmas lights, hanging up Christmas lights. We just left Christmas lights. Beautiful. And I was looking at those. We were testing them all. We put them up and we were looking at the twinkling. And I was wondering, why does this feel so beautiful? Why does it feel so good to look at it? What resonates in my spirit with these twinkling lights? What is there in nature that I can compare this to? Yeah, there's the glistening of the snow when the sun shines. There are certain things, but I got this deep knowing that what I was looking at was an imitation of something that exists in a much purer and natural form in real nature, not this nature, in nature outside of this perceptual limitation that we're in. And it's like all is more crystalline and all is more light in prime reality and colorful. It's a beginning to really remember why, when we are spiritually connected, we resonate with certain things so strongly, because they are a reminder of what our true nature is, versus why we reject other things so strongly, because they are further and further removed from what we perceive to be true nature. But to come back to the subject of karma, I think if you maliciously treat people badly and if you do things that hurt others knowingly, then you remain in that wheel, because it's sort of like you have, with your free will, chosen that. But if with your free will, you choose to do what you know to be right with your spirit, I think you will ultimately come to that point where you exit this construct, this reality, where you leave the physical body. And when you will be presented, which appears to be the MO, you will be presented with a spiritual master, you will be presented with Jesus, you will be presented with something that represents God or a relative or whatever. And I think you will be able to choose not to contract with the construct anymore and move beyond it. I think that is what we're really beginning to realize, that this is, in some ways, this life then is a preparation to take that step and go, no, I'm not going back here again. Because let me be quite frank with you. This reality, even in its most beautiful form, even when we're immersed in nature, and even when we're really away from the crap, it still feels dense. It still feels heavy compared to what I remember in my spirit. It still feels slow and low. It's beautiful. And we have these beautiful times when we look out on the water, sand beneath our feet, or we're in the mountains, or it is beautiful, but it still feels not quite there, if you know what I mean. And I think finally the penny is dropping. It's because this is not it. This is not the full potential of infinite possibilities that we're experiencing here. It is a slowed down, denser version of it. And of course, what are we going to do while we're here? Because ultimately, we did choose. I mean, even if we contracted, even if we allowed ourselves to be fooled, or we chose to come here to help others, but I think ultimately we'll make the best of it, and then go and see what lies beyond this. Or, and this could be an option that is becoming likelier, or maybe we will break the perceptual bounds while we're still in this physical body, while we're still in this experience, which has happened to many of you and us in meditations, right? We've had these moments, but they are moments, they are glimpses, they are not there all the time. Now